Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've got a quick one for you guys today. This is basically just a replay of a very interesting and very peculiar deck that I built about a year ago or so. And trust me guys, on paper it looks really bad and it just doesn't make any sense at all. But sometimes, and actually, oftentimes it does break, but sometimes it can be actually pretty good and it makes you wonder, how is it even working to begin with? So if this video gets 10 likes, I'm going to make a deck profile and show you guys some live duels with this deck. But for now, I'm just going to show you the replay. And yes, I did open pretty good with Pot of Greed and Delinquent Duo, turn 1. But my opponent does go first, actually. And my opponent is on Chaos Turbo. So he just decides to set the Sangan, set Trap Dust Shoot. And unfortunately for me, he hits the only playable monster. And this basically just goes spiraling down for me. I hit the Thunder Dragon with Delinquent Duo, so that's not very good. And I just draw some extra bricks. So yeah, as you can see, this deck makes absolutely no sense. I've got Aqua Spirit, I've got Gigantes with some Chaos Monsters. You might be wondering what is going on here. And then on top of that, I'm drawing Hungry Burger. I just have a ton of bricks. And then, for no reason, I'm out here drawing Regenerating Mummy. So, this is the one card that I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe I can make some sort of a comeback. But unfortunately, my opponent draws. Well, my opponent already had Snatch Steal, ultimately sealing the deal and winning. Game 2, however, the tides turn, and I did open up Pot of Greed again. Actually, I opened up both Pot of Greed and Duo again. Very fortunate for me, I'm not going to lie. So I hit the Trunade. I don't know why my opponent sided that in or was even main decking it at all. But I hit that. He discards the Book of Moon. And I go for the Upstart. Go for the Pot of Greed. I'm thinking I'm not going to set anything because I had card destruction. I was kind of debating. Actually, I do set the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. My bad. So I was thinking I have double Phoenix. I might as well set at least one of them. I can utilize that with Sinister Serpent. And then maybe next turn I could use card destruction. However, my opponent also has a card destruction of his own. He grabs the 1 and the 2 Thunder Dragons. He sets the Faith, and because he can't really do much else, he just decides to activate it, which honestly is fine by me, because if I activated card destruction, I would have gone minus, and on top of that, next turn I would have drawn BLS, which I would have been much more hesitant to use card destruction to begin with. So this was very good for me that my opponent basically used it. And you can basically see things are starting to make sense now. I have Elemental Mistress Doriato, which kind of connects things and puts things together. So very aggressive from my opponent. Already summoning a Chaos Sorcerer. I'm just going to let it slide because he goes right into my trap. I get a Ryukaki. And then I'm feeling pretty good because now I'm basically making my BLS live by ditching the Doriato. And my opponent's just going to draw it again next turn, or if not, I could use Nobleman, which that is what I end up doing. So I go ahead and activate the Nobleman to remove it from play. I don't run Faith. Go for the BLS, and on top of that, from the previous battle, I have Pyramid Turtle in the graveyard, activating my Gigantes. So I deal a ton of damage. And next turn, no matter what my opponent has, I'm not really worried because I do have the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast set. So that was a pretty cool duel. Both of those were relatively quick. But actually the third duel is where things really get interesting. And yes, I did open up all 3 games Delinquent Duo. So here I just go ahead and rip the duo first. And unfortunately, I don't know why my opponent has Thunder Dragon. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, but whatever. Here I summon the turtle, and of course, I go for the knock. He decides to solemn that. I was thinking, wow, this has to be something special, but I mean, it's probably a spy. But I wasn't worried because I had mind control, so I just take it. And yeah, it's just the Night Assailant. So I'm feeling pretty good with just having Pyramid Turtle. I don't really feel like, setting anything. I would rather make my card destruction as live as possible. And then my opponent just plays defensively here. Gigantas is kind of nice if I'm able to get my Pyramid Turtle in the grave. But yeah, my opponent drew the second Chaos Sorcerer. He finally decides to just go for it, removing it from play. And he chooses to go for Gravekeeper Spy in defense. Honestly, if he summoned it in attack, I probably would have lost this one. But then again, he was kind of low on life points as well, but he already has one spy face up. He might as well have the second one face up as well. So in an act of desperation, I go ahead and activate my card destruction here. And I draw some pretty interesting cards, to say the least. So for this part, I just go ahead and I summon Manju, bring out Doriado. And yes, I can actually use it with Abyss Soldier's effect, in case you don't know the rulings in Goat format. It's considered all these other types, even in the hand and in the graveyard as well, which is pretty cool. But that's too slow. I have the dark. I just need the light in the graveyard for BLS because I need to answer this Chaos Sorcerer, otherwise I just lose. So what I do is I just crash my Manju, and then of course I go for BLS, and I just hope that my opponent doesn't have a Snatch Steal or a BLS because both Chaos Sorcerers are gone. Fortunately, my opponent doesn't have a Snatch Steal, but he sets a bunch of traps. Now here, this is pretty funny. I thought, I wasn't really thinking much about it, but I didn't notice that my opponent's life points was only at 2,800. And my opponent noticed that kind of late too, so he just decided to just destroy one of his spies, putting him at 1,600. He instead goes for the Raigeki break to get rid of my BLS. Here, I just use Abyss Soldier's effect. I might as well just discard Serpent at this point. And yeah, I was thinking to myself, if that's a set Faith, I definitely don't want my opponent to get its effect. Here, he activates the duo. Well, first he destroys my Abyss Soldier. I only have a Doriado in hand. I'm thinking I'm probably going to lose at this point. But yeah, my opponent, for some odd reason, decides to duo here. He knows it's a Doriado in my hand, so, I don't really see how he would benefit from that. He's better off just setting it and bluffing. And then he sets the Faith, attacks me with the Spy. Here, if he had attacked with Spy earlier, I would have been pretty low at this point. But thanks to him playing a little bit more aggressively now, I get Manju's effect. I was kind of debating on whether I should get a Hungry Burger because I don't have any darks. And now that I think about it, that would have probably been better. But I instead added the Doriado to my hand. And now I'm just happy to be able to get rid of his Spy. And this is the part where, basically my opponent doesn't do anything. He's just, playing as passively as possible. But what I do here is I get the mind control. Very happy to see that. Very happy to see its Faith. And then I just add card destruction because my hand is pretty useless. My opponent does have an answer, but I just go for the card destruction. I see that I have Ring of Destruction, and this is also what I was talking about earlier. Unfortunately, no darks in the graveyard. If this was a Hungry Burger, I could have just won with Chaos Sorcerer, but it's whatever. I set the ring. My opponent gets a Faith. And of course, he just, he tries to bait it for some reason. But it doesn't matter. At this point, I've got the Manju. And I just ring for game. And like I said, if my opponent attacked with a spy earlier on, this would have been a draw. But and it would have been trickier for me to win this one potentially, especially since I didn't have a dark in the graveyard. But yeah, I ultimately win. So yeah, that's just the replay. Again, let's try to get the video to 10 likes. See if you guys are interested enough in seeing a deck profile over this abomination of a deck. And yeah, I'll be happy to record that and talk about it, and I'll be happy to show you guys some live duels. So that's it for this one. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.